Lisa. Okay, I typed it in. Yes, I got it. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. It is, hold on, it is the 7th of April. How that happened already, I don't know. I see Lisa popped in, so I'm going to say hi to Lisa. Okay, good morning, everybody. So I don't know about you, but I don't know where time is going. Like seriously, it's April, what did I just say? Like that quick, I forgot. April 7th already. I don't know. By the way, dogs running around. Daisy is super excited this morning. I don't know what's going on with her, but she's Bill Clinton. That's funny. Hello. So good morning, everybody. Happy to have you here as always. Gary, I missed saying hi to you. I'm going to give you a personal hi, Gary. I try so hard to get everybody in the morning, but full disclosure, like right before we were supposed to go, I was like, you know what? I should probably go to the bathroom real fast. So I ran to the bathroom and then I came back and then I pushed start. And so I'm trying to get everybody in there. And I think I got you. For all of you that are not able to talk to us in the chat bar, good morning to you as well. We appreciate you guys joining in. Again, it is constantly a we. I cannot change my mindset. It's just so automatic. Anyway, so I had a busy week. How about you guys? Tell me what you did. I know that as we get into this season, right? Everyone has different spring breaks. I remember, excuse me, back in Virginia, my family's from Virginia Beach, and then when we got married, Eric and I got married, we lived in Yorktown. And I remember that our spring breaks were different. Like Virginia Beach took the week before Easter, and then our area on the peninsula took it the week after Easter, or vice versa. I can't remember now. But it always revolved around Easter, and now spring break doesn't necessarily correspond with when Easter is. So I'm all over the place. And now I don't have kids that are in public school. I've only got Dawson who's in college, and as we said a couple weeks ago, he's already had his spring break. So where are you? Are you having a spring break? Are kids home out of school? Are you on vacation? Are you going on vacation? Are you coming to Disney's backyard? What's going on with you? Give me some feedback here. Let me know what you guys are doing. And as always, I constantly forget to remind you, especially for those of you that might be a little bit newer to Coffee Time. If you have questions about essentially anything, I'll try to answer it if I can. I'm certainly not versed on all subjects, but when it comes to real estate, local here to Florida, to what I call Disney's backyard here in Horizon West, which is where I live. You can see my pool in the background, my own personal little Bahamas oasis in the backyard. Then go ahead and write those questions, and it makes it easier for us if you put a capital Q with a colon and then ask the question. We've got Alyssa and people monitoring it that will kind of yell at me if there's a question in there, so I can make sure I answer it. Anyway, so good morning. Cheers to you. Coffee time. This is one of my favorite mugs. I know you've seen it before, but I think Alyssa got this for me out of Starbucks when she was at school. And it is to this day one of my favorites. So absolutely love it. Now I will say Daisy woke up super early this morning. Don't know why. And so I made the pot of coffee around 6:15 maybe this morning. So this is a reheated. Can you hear Easton? I love it. Little Easton's over there. By the way, we do have a baby update. Oh my goodness, so exciting. Anyway, all right, anybody that I may have missed that have popped in, let me know. Anyway, oh, Gary, what? I see, feel better, Gary. What's going on, Gary? Gary, you're not feeling well? Wait, you had shoulder surgery, follow up later today. Oh my goodness. All right, well, I hope that went well. I have found with the little minor surgery that I had on my wrist, which by the way, I do have a little scar. I don't know if you can see it, but that little tiny surgery has, even however many months later, anything with your hands and your arms. I mean, honestly, I guess any part of your body, let's be honest, if it's your feet, your legs, I mean, everything kind of hurts, but you really take for granted how much you use certain things. So Gary, I hope you have a very speedy recovery there. But yeah, I don't know if you doctors out there, I actually need to go to it's supposed to be a 6-month post-surgery follow-up, but things were going on, so I haven't had time to make that appointment. But it's funny because this hand, my left hand, which is the one I write with, which is where I had that ganglion cyst, that was removed, I get like this weird, like I kind of twiddle my fingers and I like kind of have to snap. I feel like I want to pop my knuckles, which I've never been a knuckle cracker person. And so sometimes when it acts up, I have to tell people I'm okay. Like I'm not like, I'm not like on drugs or something. It's literally, it's like I get like a sensation in there where I just have to, like my knuckles feel thick and I need to pop them. But anyway, I digress. Let's get on with coffee time, shall we? Lots to talk about today. We've got some great real estate topics. And again, as always, if anybody has questions, don't forget to pop those in there. And more than anything, super excited. Wait, now Stephanie, hold on. Stephanie, good morning. I'm ninja watching while taking a walk today. Okay, that's pretty impressive. Just please make sure you're looking for things around you that could be an obstacle. Don't fall or get hurt. And good morning, Enchanted Nomads. How are you guys? All right, guys, let's go to our brewing topic, shall we? Let's get going. Cheers. All right, what's brewing topics today? Model makeup, you're never just looking, and design. It probably should make more sense. Design now or after closing. Either way, design or after closing. Also, real quick, Lisa said spring break on the peninsula is typically the first full week of April. So it's this week for us. All right, well, I hope you guys have a wonderful spring break. I miss that. When I had the dance studio back in Virginia, all of our holidays paralleled to what the school systems did, because obviously if kids were out of school, we weren't going to have dance. If they were on vacation for the holidays, we also would be on vacation from dance, because that's just the way it worked. We just followed the academic school schedule when it came to holiday closings. Anyway, so I kind of looked forward to that, right? To knowing when you had these little breaks in the schedule. But as an adult, I was an adult when I had the studio, but now here, with real estate, almost every holiday is even busier, because that's when people tend to take that time off and to vacation and to come here and maybe even house hunt a little bit. Anyway, so these are our three topics for today. So the first one we're going to talk about is model makeup. So this is just, this stems from, as most of the topics do, from, my glasses are so dirty, good gracious. This stems from just general information when it comes to model homes. So if you have ever been in a new construction community or, walked through a model home, I'm sure you guys have at some point, parade of homes, things like that, you can see how beautiful those model homes are. Now, remember, the model homes are typically the first ones that are built in, they're the first things that are built in the community. And so they usually will fast track them. They usually get those up a little bit faster than they might with a standard home, right? Because they're only focused on those homes. They're able to just put all energy, all hands on deck to get those up and completed as quickly as possible. So that's one thing to keep in mind. The second thing to keep in mind is because it is the first home in the community, typically, to be built, you don't know what else is going to be around those models. Sometimes they are the most amazing lots in the community, right? They want to showcase what a great lakefront community it is. And so you have this big, beautiful lake behind you, or maybe it's a pond behind you, or maybe it's nothing behind you for now. And in addition to that, they're going to, of course, showcase the potential beauty of the home by upgrading all of those design options. I have never seen a model home like their actual showcase sales center model home built with the standard features that the builder offers. Because in almost every single case, the most basic thing, which is your flooring, is going to be, by builder standards, carpet everywhere, with the exception of what they call those wet areas, your laundry room, your kitchen, your bathrooms, and maybe your foyer entrance. But you don't ever see a model home with carpet everywhere. You're going to, of course, see an extended flooring. Even if it happens to be a basic tile flooring that is included, they still have it extended everywhere. So point is, you go to the model home and you're going to see beautiful upgrades. You're going to see gorgeous flooring. You're going to see upgraded counters, upgraded cabinets, maybe some glass accented cabinets. Maybe you're going to see the laundry room with the extra built-in cabinets or a folding table or a laundry sink. You're going to see all of these, maybe some custom closets, maybe some built-ins, but you're most definitely going to see things like extra paint, trim, details around. You're going to see beautiful like custom curtains or cornices or valances or anything of that nature that's going to really kind of showcase and show off that home. Now, the problem is sometimes when you buy that home, because by the way, those homes are going to be eventually are going to be for sale. There is something called a lease back. Honestly, I don't see many builders doing them anymore, but they did do them for a while. And I have had clients in the past who have taken advantage of that. And what that means is once the home is complete, when the builder is ready, the builder will sell that home and then lease it back from you. So you would buy the model home, close on it. It's your home. Your name is on the deed. You are essentially responsible for everything. But the lease back is the builder leasing that home back from you. And it's usually at an advantage. They're going to pay you more than what your mortgage is going to be. They're going to pay for utilities. They're going to pay for that upkeep. But it is going to be a heavy trafficked area, right? Because it's a sales center. So there could be a benefit in that. Sometimes people love to do that. They love to do that as an investment. Some people do that with full intent of moving into the home when the builder is done and they're ready to be done with that community and they're ready to end their lease and now it's your home again. And then there's also the opportunity sometimes to buy the model home once the community is completed if the builder doesn't do the lease back, which again, I don't know many that are doing it right now. And partly because communities can take years and years and years to build out. So they may not even put them up or offer them for sale until very close to when a community can see the end of that horizon, right? So, but when a home is sold, when the model home is sold, there's a lot of like glitz and glamour. Oh, I bought the model home. I bought the model home. And that is fantastic. But remember, you don't always know when you buy the home earlier in the process. If it's a lease back, you may not know exactly what's going to be going back behind you. And the reason I say this is because recently with some clients, we toured former model home that is for sale. And by the way, the community closed out years ago. So somebody's already been living in the home post the builder using it as a model. And it's now for sale again. And it is still just as beautiful on the inside. It's gorgeous. It's, it's got lots of extra paint treatments, lots of really nice design. They even sold it with the furniture. So some of the rooms are still very much staged like it was when I did the video tour of it when it was a model. But there's zero backyard. And now what is behind them as a house is the garage doors of townhomes that are on the opposite side of the street behind them. So it's not super ideal. So that's kind of a stinger when you purchase a model home and you pay extra, right? You're like, oh man, this is great. I got the model home. Wow. And you have all of these beautiful built-in features, all of these upgrades. It's really great. It costs more for that home with the options and upgrades than some of the others in the community. But then years later, you go to sell it and now the proof is in the pudding, right? Now you see that, oh, that lot's not super desirable. There's no backyard. Not only is there no backyard, but your backyard backs up to the alleyway and all of the garage doors of the townhouses that are behind it. And the townhouses are clean. It's not like it's an eyesore. It's just not what you would typically expect. So point is, model homes, make sure that you really think that through. They are beautiful. And again, I've had clients buy them as investments and do the lease back option. I've had clients buy it as the investment lease back option and then live in it, and then they'll turn around and go and sell it. And I've had clients outright buy the model home when the model home was just for sale by the builder, never a lease back opportunity. So it can be a really good thing, but you want to make sure that you fully think through when it comes to paying for that home, that you're smart enough and savvy enough, or have a realtor that's smart enough and savvy enough to understand the issue with the lot, if the lot is not as ideal as you once thought. And remember, when you first go into that community, the first things you see typically are going to be those models, and they're going to be big and beautiful, and they don't sell the lot beside it because the lot beside them is the parking lot, right? So that doesn't get sold until the very end. Sometimes, this is true of a community here locally, there's a model home, and then there's some green space. Well, actually, it's offset off of the corner, so there's some corner space. There's a model. There's some space between the model and the next model, and eventually there's going to be a house on either side. So what now looks to you like a huge corner site with a big side yard and all this extra space between you and a neighbor is not the reality. The reality is those are 2 more home sites that when the builder is done, they're going to go ahead and put houses on them. So think about that as you go through, if you're thinking about model homes, and pay special attention to that when you're walking, just so that you can learn too what is expected, what's standard, kind of what makes that model home as expensive as it might be, and look at the backyard and think to yourself, okay, well, this is what it looks like now, but what's it going to look like later once the community is built out? What's going behind this? What's going beside this? What's going across the street from this? Because what looks like a big grand estate in the end could just be another house that's close together with all these others. So anyway, some food for thought as we were going through that. Okay, what's happening up over here? I see the Grateful Drifter. Good morning. Good morning, Rob. Good morning, Susan. Susan says, happy Monday. Good morning, lovelies. I'm sorry I'm late. It's a 3-ring circus here with Maddie and a new puppy. Oh, I need pictures. Okay. Goodness gracious. All right. So let's go to our second brewing topic this morning. Don't forget, if you have questions about model homes or anything that topic was just on, feel free to pop those in here. You're never just looking. Okay. So I think I'm probably going to have a lot of people disagree with me on this, because you might think to yourself, well, yeah, I can be just looking. Like if I'm looking on Zillow, or I'm looking on realtor.com or homes.com, or even if I have a property search set up by my realtor, I'm just looking. Okay, sure. At that point, I say you're gathering information. But when you get to the point, and I mean this wholeheartedly, when you get to the point where you have done a pre-approval, or you have the cash and you've submitted a proof of funds to your agent to let them know, okay, yes, I'm going to be a cash buyer, and here's the proof of funds so that we can go see these houses. When you do that, and when you enlist the help of the realtor to go see these houses, then you should not, I guess is what I'm saying. You should not mentally think of this as I'm just looking, because at this point, how am I going to say this politely? We are invading people's private spaces. If you are out looking at homes and you think you're just looking, but your agent thinks that you are serious because you've got a pre-approval and we're scheduling showings and 3-ring circuits, let's use Susan and her 3-ring circus as an example right now. Let's pretend Susan's house is on the market. She's got her grandson with her, her daughter's there, she's got her other children, her husband are home. Let's say it's spring break even. And now they have a new puppy, and there's a lot going on in their life. There's a lot going on. And we get a showing request from a realtor who's like, hey, I have a client who would like to see the property you have listed at 123 Main Street. And Susan's like, and she scurries up and gathers up and shoves the toys over here and does a quick wipe down and makes sure that she takes everyone out of the house. They get this new puppy. They're praying the puppy doesn't pee in the car on the way. And they scoot out of the house. And then you go to see the house, but you're just looking. In my opinion, that's kind of inconsiderate. If you're not seriously looking that home could be a potential option for you, then you should not see it. Because there's other ways for you to gather that information. Zillow, realtor.com, homes.com, Trulia, all of these places that you can see homes, you can see the prices, you can get the information, you can see the pictures. If you want to go to an open house, because you're like, okay, open houses are free, I can just go in and kind of be a looky-loo or a nosy neighbor. Those happen, which is one of the reasons people don't like open houses, because they want people to come into their private living space that they are desperately trying to sell, but they want that with a person who is able to actually move forward on it. I think we locked up again. Tell me if it's okay. I don't know. I locked up on my screen. Yep. Okay, it went away. Anyway, I'm going to keep talking because you can probably still hear me. At any rate, so Mike, I guess my point is you're never really just looking once you've engaged a realtor and you're going into people's spaces. That's when we politely request that you be looking, but seriously looking. Make sure that you are looking for getting into a home because it could be a potential option. By the way, it's completely okay if you go into that home and that home doesn't actually meet your needs and it's a home that is not going to be on your short list. That's completely okay. But you saw it with the hope that it would be a viable option. So that's kind of, I guess, where I'm going with that. I mean, it is okay to look, it is okay to do your research, but once you are scheduling showings and going into people's homes, that's when you should really consider whether or not you are wanting and able to move forward on it. Okay, so I finished that topic. We're trying to figure out the camera situation, and it's okay. If it's not working, then we can just call it a day. And if you can still hear me, then I can just keep chatting. At any rate, so the third topic, and while Allie's trying to figure this out. So so let me go on to the third topic. So the third topic is referencing design or after closing. And what we're talking about there is, okay, so there's a lot of things that we talk about when you go to a design center. We talk about, should you just take the standard options and you can swap that out later. So when we talk to people about having like a limited design budget, okay, so let's say you've got X amount as a design budget and you're like, well, we're gonna add that after closing. We just don't have enough money to do it now. We'll just do that later. And by the way, just as a quick reminder, I always tell people when you go to the design center, put your funds toward your cabinets, your counters, and your flooring. Those are the three biggest elements of your home. If there is anything structurally that you need, that's structurally meaning if you want to extend that lanai, or if that flex space needs to be a bedroom, or if that powder bath needs to be a full bath, that's also where your funds need to be focused. You need to put them there because in those spaces, you can't add those later. Excuse me, you can't add those later necessarily. So it's just important for you to consider that as you go through. Now, what we're talking about too, though, is, it's one thing to, to add blinds later, to add custom closets, things like builders don't do those anyway, but let's just say they did. When you do those items with the builder, that is going to be rolled into your mortgage. Okay, so that's in your mortgage. So if you've got a $5,000 or a $10,000 or a $15,000 or a $20,000, upgrade that you want to add to your home, if you want to, add a bay window or add a tray ceiling or do an extension in the garage, whatever that case may be, then you have that rolled into your mortgage. That's on the price of the home. So you're paying for that, $5, $10, $15, $20,000 over the course of your mortgage, which is typically 30 years. If you think to yourself, I'll just add that later, that is okay. And we tell people a lot of times you can do that later. But let's say that what you wanted to do later, let's just say it costs you $10,000 to do whatever it is you want to do, and you want to do it later. Later meaning after you've closed on the home is now yours, and now you have the ability to do whatever you want to the home, as long as you get HOA approval, of course. And in that case, that $10,000 has to be money that you already have. So whereas it could be something you would roll into the mortgage and pay out incrementally over your 30-year mortgage payments, now you have to come up with that amount of money to begin with. Now, yes, there are some larger companies where if you're doing a big, massive project that they have their own sort of financing and you can make payments to it. But again, let's just say it's a screened enclosure. Let's just say the builder can do the screened enclosure, or you're like, you know what, I'm going to do that later because we're going to do some hardscape in the backyard. We're going to do a screened enclosure and I'll just add that later. Well, if you do that, then later looks a lot different in a monthly mortgage payment than it does when you have to pay for that full amount right up front. So I always mention that because it is something to consider when you're building a house, knowing that you've only got, you're looking at something that's just a few $1,000s, or even if it's 10, 15, 20, that is a lot of daggone money, by the way. But in the course of a mortgage, it is not, as opposed to saying, do you have that extra 10, 15, $20,000 just sitting in an account somewhere that you can then pay. So, all right, so let's see. Let me see real quick. I'm just going to pop this up. All right. Can't get this over there. So I'm just going to go on. Sorry, I'm just going to go on over to, let's see if we can do, let's do wishes, because we have a lot of wishes today. I want to make sure I get to them in case we have to end early today. Okay, so don't worry about the little yellow block there. That would be me. No one needs to look at me anyway. All right, so congratulations to Elizabeth and Steele, to Doug, Susan, and Sarah. So excited for them. They are closing on their multi-generational home. Love that. Omar and Samara are closing this week. Luann and Curtis. So excited for them. They just contracted, and Shelly and James just closed on their home. Super excited. It was clearly a very busy week last week, and we have another busy week coming up this week. We actually have a closing today. I have another closing on Wednesday. Just a lot of going on, so we're super excited. So congratulations to all of them. And then I also wanted to pop over to our scoop. All right, so I'm very excited that Parkside Trails with Pulte, which, by the way, they were part of our scoop or our secret the past few weeks, they are now officially open with model homes. Now, keep in mind, Parkside Trails with Pulte is part of the Wellness Way project in Claremont, but it is just over that Lake County, Orange County line. Jay, luckily yellow is a good color for you. You're very funny. Yeah, so this is right across from Horizon West. So if you know the area, there is New Independence Parkway, which is the exit off of 429, which dumps you out right there in Hamlin, all a part of Horizon West. Wow, I just missed Eric so bad just then. He totally would have pushed the button. But now that road, when you cross it over Avalon Road, there is already a community there called Wincy Groves. That is part of the Hamlin area here in Horizon West. But now just behind that community is the Lake County line, and that's where Parkside Trails is. So even though it is going to be Claremont and Wellness Way, it is really so close and adjacent to Horizon West here. I just think it's going to be a fantastic option for anybody that's looking, about finding a place that's close to Disney's backyard. That is definitely going to be one. So if you're interested in Parkside Trails, give me a shout out, and I will absolutely get you in touch with their amazing sales staff there, and we can look at what some of the models are and some of the availability. Okay. Also, I was gonna say, who just popped up here a minute ago? Somebody said something about the HOA. Something about HOA. Something about, it was Gary talked about the fence. I think it was Gary. Yeah, so about HOAs and fences, by the way, sometimes I'm just going to put it on another screen. What can I put it on that looks good? That's not me. I don't know. We'll just stay on this one for the moment. We'll go to So yeah, sometimes you have a setback with your home. Your fence typically can go to the property line, but you cannot build your pool within 5 feet of that. You cannot dig down into the ground. Because that 5-foot easement, should it ever need to be accessed, needs to be available to be accessed and not have a pool dug into the ground there. So definitely check with your HOA, those of you that are chit-chatting about the HOA stuff. All right, I'm going to zoom on over here to what I'm watching. All right, so I actually just finished the new season of Love on the Spectrum. If you are not familiar with this is such a heartwarming series on Netflix. It's about, I say kids, but they're not. They're adults that are on the spectrum, various degrees. They all have some level of being on the spectrum, and they are amazing. And the whole series is just about them as adults trying to navigate the adult world and finding love, finding that partner, and it's really, really, really heartwarming. And so I was very excited. In fact, I have to tell you that couple right there on the screen right now is my favorite couple. Her name is Georgie. I can't remember his name, and I apologize. I should have looked it up before I started talking. But her name is Georgie, and she is just the sweetest, and that's just such a sweet couple. So I hope they last and they stay together. But at any rate, so lots of fun stuff there. Okay, I have a baby picture, I think. Let me see. So we took the babies for a walk the other day, and I have to tell you, this stroller came from a good, I say a friend of mine. He is a friend of mine, but it was all through the professional relationship. He was actually my lender when we first moved here, the very first time when we moved here from Virginia. Bruce was with Summit Mortgage at the time, and he just happened to be the loan officer that was assigned to us. So it was a very random, relationship that kind of blossomed. And here we are many, many, many years later, and he is definitely my go-to lender for many reasons, and partly because I've been on both sides of the table with him. I've been the client, I've been the buyer, where he was the loan officer guiding us through the mortgage application process and the approval and all of that. And now sending my clients to him, and partly because it's very important to me that my clients be treated the way I would treat them. So it would be very, very upsetting to me if I feel one way about my clients and the way I like to operate business, and I refer a client to someone, and then they're just very rude and they just have a horrible experience. That doesn't sit well with me. So in this case, Bruce has just been fantastic. His whole team of people have always been great. And he always wants to do nice things for me. And I always tell him it's not necessary that, the nice things he can do for me is just to take great care of my clients. So when he found out that both of my girls were pregnant, he took it upon himself to get a double stroller for Mimi. He's like, look, this is not for you because I know you won't accept anything from me. You don't want anything, but this is not for you. This is for Mimi and the grandbabies. And while I have used that double stroller a few times before, we did use it the other day. Elsie came over and Easton was here, and so we strolled up to the mailbox and strolled back, and it's fun because now they're sitting up, and it's a lot more fun to have them both in the stroller. So anyway, that was just a quick little update on the babies. So super cute. All right, and then I have, I think, one more thing. I think I do. Do I have one more thing? Listings? Yeah, we'll go to the listings. So the Alcott One Story officially closed last week. So congratulations to them. The Davenport with a pool. We've had a lot of activity. We just did another price reduction. The seller is incredibly motivated, and it has a new roof. It's been painted on the inside. That's going to be the featured home of the week this week, and that one has had a lot of activity ever since that price dropped. I just think that maybe we're finding the right spot, even though it was priced well to begin with. Remember, guys, market conditions are market conditions. We can say that a home is worth what the comps tell us it's worth, but I've had homes that I thought would never sell that sold right away for more than what I expected. I've had homes that I thought would sell right away that took forever and at a much lower price than I expected. So there's not a whole lot of rhyme or reason. All we can do is take the data, take the trend of what's happening at the moment, and use our best judgment and price things accordingly. And even though the home was getting a few showings, it just wasn't getting any major interest. And now I think we're just like constantly getting showing. The Mineola single family home is going to be closing this week, so super excited for them. We have the beautiful Winter Garden One Story with the 3-car garage, and I always have to accent it by saying 3-car garage, because you have no idea how hard it is to find a single-story home with a 3-car side-by-side garage. So that is an absolute winner. And that one is also in Winter Garden in a gated community. It's actually a gated section within a gated community. So that is definitely one to keep on your radar. We also have the one out in Kissimmee in the community of Kindred. That is another large 1-story home with a 3-car garage. Out in Kissimmee, it's a little bit easier to find those larger home sites. Again, different market, different area, different price point for sure. And then, of course, we have that beautiful Groveland 1-story, lovely home. One of my favorite builders built that home. Great area. And I have to tell you, every time I go out in that direction, there's a Burger King out there, and don't laugh. I know I'm a McDonald's person, but there is a Burger King out there that I hit every time I go out in that direction, very close to that house. So if you're like me and you need your Diet Coke, there's one very close to that Groveland 1-story. We also have another home going on the market here this week in the community of Hawksmoor. It's going to be a lovely, large 1-story floor plan, pond view, gorgeous outdoor area, and upstairs is a loft, bedroom, and bathroom. So it's a great spot if you've got either you need a guest area or you got maybe an older teen or a college-age kid. That would be a fantastic one. All right, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and pop up the promo because I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I do have an appointment this morning. Before I go, I need to remind you, and I don't know if I mentioned this last week, we will not have coffee time next week. I have an appointment next Monday morning. Just can't get it rescheduled. It conflicts with coffee time. So no coffee time next week. Meanwhile, we'll try to figure out some of the technical difficulties. Meanwhile, just make sure that next week when you have coffee for coffee time on Monday morning, you guys think some happy thoughts and have some coffee. Maybe it's your spring break. Maybe you won't even be here because you'll be out enjoying some fun in the sun with friends and family. Maybe your kids are off. Either way, we really appreciate you guys popping in. So on that note, as always, please remember to stay safe, stay well. Remember, we love you. And thanks for hanging out with me, even during the technical difficulties. That's true friends and family right there. They're just sitting there looking at a yellow screen and kind of feeling my pain here on the other side. All right, guys. Love you all. Have a great day. Have a great week. We'll see you. Well, I won't see you next week. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.